Hello and welcome to a Team Clueless Battle Report. You'll probably notice that this terrain is not up to our normal standards. That's because we're playing a non-40k game today. We're playing the new game Dropzone Commander from Hawk War Games. This game is done on 10mm with 10mm scale models, so they're quite a lot smaller than our normal terrain. And rather than be sort of Lilliputians fighting in the land of the giants, we are using books to represent buildings. So this is our first ever game, literally our first ever game. So if you are a Dropzone Commander fan and you notice us making loads and loads of rules errors, please let us know in the comment section below. Okay, so I'll start off by looking at Chris's army, his new collected army. What can you tell us about these, Chris?
They are the UCM, and they are the basic starter set for that army. So we've got 3 Condor dropships to move my slings around, 2 Bear APCs which carry 3 squads of infantry apiece, so I'm going to be fielding 6 infantry stands, 3 Sabre main battle tanks with some nice big Gauss rifle blowing up action on them, and 3 Rapier anti-aircraft tanks. We've got these Gatling guns on them to shoot down flyers. It's a very basic, lean, just about enough points cost to field a skirmish army, but hopefully it'll learn us the rules, and that's what we're trying to do today. Yeah, and those anti-air guns are pretty important in Dropzone Commander. As the name suggests, you do a lot of dropship action. Yeah, things don't move unless they're flying, basically. They move 1 or 2 inches as opposed to the massive extra move for the ships.
So I am playing the Post-Human Republic. You can see here I have my 3 Neptune dropships, and we have some walkers. Unfortunately, I got the wrong walkers, so I'm having to proxy some of them. These are Ares anti-armor walkers. These are also Ares anti-armor walkers, but they will be representing Phobos anti-air walkers. And I've got 2 Juno troop transports and 4 squads of Immortals. And we're going to be playing on this terrain. We're fighting for the fate of Arrakis and Middle-earth and New England. There's 3 buildings along the middle here. Each of those contains an objective which the infantry have to find, and the other buildings are also there to provide some more line of sight blocking. Okay, let's see how we get on. Okay, so we've had our first turn. This game has a sort of alternative activation approach where you take it in turns to activate battle groups. We've each got 2 battle groups here, one with our infantry and one with our tanks, or walkers in my case. So Chris went first, moved his infantry battle group up to one behind this building. I moved one of my Neptunes up, and then the armour transports came up behind the other 2 buildings. I've chosen to bunch all my Neptunes together, so we're all nicely packed in. Okay, so turn 2, and the battle really started heating up. Chris, tell us what happened.
Well, I made a small boo-boo. My dropship over here charged forward to disgorge the anti-air troops, which fired a full sabre fire at this dropship, doing 2 wounds to it. Unfortunately, it's got 3 damage points, and so it survived for its anti-air troops to get out. And this dropship over here, which has all of my main battle tanks in it, is suspiciously missing because it got blown up. Yeah. Crashed. Paul rolled a 6 on the damage table and killed the entire contents
as well.
So really I'm lacking my primary armour now, but I have disgorged my Bear APCs at the edge of this building, and the troops are in there, so next turn they can start searching.
So in this game, unlike 40k, you have to search for the objectives in the buildings that they're contained in, but then once you've found them, you can actually move them, so once he's found those, they can jump back in the APCs and hightail it with them.
Get out of town, absolutely. So it's a case of, can I pin, or at least to try and destroy those infantry of Paul's army so that he can't do likewise?
Indeed. Yes, and I've got my anti-armour walkers firing off against these anti-air tanks. My anti-air walkers are out of position, but that's because they were shooting. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, turn 3 has been and gone. I managed to win initiative this time. And the first thing I did was activate my armoured squads. So my walkers here waddled forward a bit. The Neptune flew over the head, and we took some shots at the dropship that was here, putting a wound on it. The other anti-air walkers got back on their Neptune, and the Neptune scooted behind this building out of line of sight of the dreaded rapiers. Then what happened on your activation, Chris?
My activation...
it was these guys, wasn't it?
Yes, these boys moved forward and shot an aircraft. The thing they are spectacularly good at, and managed to put 2 wounds on this one. So Paul's running around with 2 dropships with 2 wounds on them, and neither of them are falling out the sky.
They've both got 3 wounds total, so they're virtually falling apart. And
my Condor shot missiles at this unit and did nothing. The fact that one of them was missing is actually due to the
foreshadowing
unit.
So then I used my infantry battle group. My Neptune landed, disgorged its 2 Junos. This Juno here also disgorged its troops into the building. As you see, I get a lot fewer troops than Chris. And the Junos and the Neptune shot and finished off this dropship here, so that was good news. Only 1 dropship left for the what is
you said the United Colonies of Man.
The United Colonies of Man. And then what happened when you used your infantry?
My infantry searched the building for their objective, which they have found, and this unit are carrying, and then they popped to the window to say hello to these lovely armoured boys and shot 6 rocket launchers at them, taking 1 out.
I was quite surprised at how deadly those rocket launchers are that those guys are carrying.
They're quite short range, but they're very high strength, and it worked quite nicely, so they've evened up some of the disparity of death at the moment. We'll see.
Okay, moving into turn 4. There are 6 turns this game. Okay, end of turn 4, and things are really starting to hot up now. So I won the initiative, and my infantry squads moved first. We had a look in this building for the objective, but we haven't managed to find it. And then we took a shot across the building, out the windows, over to the other side. We managed to put the hurts on. If you remember, there was 6 stands of infantry over there. We did a total of 6 wounds to the first squad. That squad's since left the building. We'll come on to that in a second. And my Junos and my Juno took a shot at the bear, doing nothing. The other Juno piled back in the Neptune and flew over this way. Unfortunately, then it was Chris's turn, and these anti-air rapier tanks came around the corner and shot that Juno out of the sky. We've had 2 aircraft blown up. And when an aircraft blows up, you roll on a table, and if you get a 6, then the contents are destroyed. And so far, we've had the contents destroyed twice.
Yeah, the only other one that got blown up had nothing in it, so that just died. But both of our rolls on that table have been 6s.
So yeah, quite brutal being caught in the air. And then your remaining flyers parked around here out of line of sight.
Cowering, I believe, is the official terminology.
Yep. So then it was my armoured squads. These what they're called Phobos walkers came out from this Neptune, which is parked here, and they shot up at the infantry squad as well, doing some more damage. This Ares walker here managed to take out one of these 3 rapiers, and then finally it was Chris's infantry. You've had your 3 wounded infantry stands here, including the one carrying the objective, have parked back into this rear bear and scooted around the corner. These 3 infantry squads here fired across to my infantry squads, but failed to do any damage.
Yeah, with the extra cover of the building, their shots did nothing. We did a single damage point to the actual building.
Oh yes,
that was it.
Yeah, but masonry, you can roll, and then masonry can fall on the troops. But I managed to avoid the effects of that. And
the building's got 20 hit points, so I'm not that excited about taking the building out. To be fair,
there are these demolisher weapons, aren't there, on some of the units, which do a lot more damage.
And fast flyers can drop bombs that can do quite a lot of damage.
Okay, so there's 2 turns, and there's still all to play for, I think. Okay, so we've done turn 5. I won initiative again, activated my armoured units. Really needed to take out this bear here to try and reduce the manoeuvrability of the troops. So the Phobos anti-air units and the Ares and both the Neptunes fired at bear units. These APCs are really tough. They don't really have any armaments worth speaking of, but all that firepower managed to do a single wound to the bear, which has got 2 hull points, more than Chris's main battle tanks. So both of his bears are still operational. They're a real thorn in my side. Then Chris, you had your infantry unit next, didn't you?
I did indeed. My infantry unit shot at that garrison building, and also at this guy here, because you can split your fire, so the missile launchers fired at him. The infantry fired them and did 1 wound to that stand there, and nothing at all to the tank.
Whereas this infantry squad disembarked into this unit as well, over into this building over here. So there's a second victory point available there for Chris if you can access it. I then used my infantry. We found the objective in this building. and we shot across, tried to take out the bear with our sniper rifles, still didn't manage to do anything, and our small arms fire shooting from building to building didn't do anything either. Then it was Chris's armour division, which now consists of this rapier. The rapier came and had a shot up at these infantry and managed to kill another one of them.
Did the second wound to this stand. It's a wide fire pattern, is actually quite dangerous against infantry.
And then we've also got this dropship here, which is just staying out of harm's way. So 1 turn left. We've got a victory point each, but Chris is in the building with a victory point, so if he can find that, he'll be 2-1 up. The only way I could really stop him from doing that would be to wipe out the infantry in that building, which is going to be no mean feat. Let's see how it goes. Okay, turn 6, and unfortunately Chris managed to find that other objective over there. So there was 2 objectives in that with that infantry squad compared to my 1. So all I could really do this turn, because these squads weren't manning the windows to shoot out, the only way I could deal damage to them was to deal damage to the building and then hope that they died to masonry. So we fired basically our entire army at that building, managed to do 4 wounds to it, so 4 lots of falling masonry. It wiped out one of the squads, but not one of the squads that was holding an objective. And then there was some more shooting over here. This squad's getting rather depleted now. The immortals are slowly falling, but the game has come to an end. Oh yes! Final shot of the game, my 2 snipers from this team finally managed to kill a bear. So a Pyrrhic victory for me. But 2-1 on the objectives to Chris, congratulations.
Right, thank you kindly, sir.
So that's your first game, well, both of our first game of Dropzone Commander. What did you make of it?
I thought it was really good. Considering we played such a small game, the tactical thoughts about it, you had to really think about where you're positioning things, what to move where. It was actually very involved, considering there was just 3 units basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah, we each had an anti-armour unit, an anti-air unit, and an infantry unit. Yeah,
absolutely, and yeah, it was actually very much more involved than I thought it was. Unfortunately, we didn't get any close quarters combat, so I think that would be interesting to see.
Next time, I'm going to be storming a building just so that we can use the close quarters combat rules.
Absolutely, but yeah, the mobility angle, losing 2 dropships really slowed down my ability to move, which was cool because it's actually a really viable tactic.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that, especially with killing all 3 of your anti-armour tanks when they died on board.
Yes, but I managed to kill your infantry in the same manner to stop them getting to our buildings, so it worked. Yeah, it worked out quite nicely. Yeah, I like it. It
was really good. It kind of felt like it was you had to use the right tool against the right unit, so getting your anti-air into the right place and your anti-armour into the right place.
Yes, I think that might change slightly if we had more mixed armies, because these armies are very basic. But yeah, it is very much unless you get the right thing in the right place, they're not going to do a great deal. Which is
good tactical fighting.
Yeah, you really have to think about your movement a lot more, because if you get it wrong, your units end up being useless.
And the rules seem simple and straightforward. I found it quite easy to follow.
Yeah, we had to look up a few things because it's our first game, but once you look them up, yeah, it's fairly common sense.
Okay, so we might be doing a few more Dropzone Commander battle reports in the future. We'll have to see if we can convince some other people to buy some DZC models to get involved. Okay, bye for now.